Hey, what's up, builders, remodelers? Thank you for coming to today's webinar. We're looking at retargeting ads and how powerful they are, and making sure that the people that you are working hard to turn into customers don't just look at an ad and then you never hear from them again. So I'm your host, Kevin Sterling. Our company is GC Sherpa. If you're just tuning in here, we do digital marketing for builders and remodelers. We are heavily involved in the industry through multiple trade associations, and we are pumped to have you today. So we will not run the full 90 minutes today, but we are going to get into it, show you some things that are just highly effective. And if you're not familiar with the buying cycle of somebody who's looking for either a home build or a remodeling project, hopefully you learn something from there. So let's dive in. Lovely graphic my admin marketer made for us. So let's get to it. What you're going to learn today, one is why a lot of the leads disappear. So if you feel like you have a lead and they don't convert, you can't really figure out why. It's often because your expectation might be that it's going to be a one and done scenario, which is really not the case. Like, people are so distracted nowadays that you have to have the longevity to stick with them for months, sometimes months or years, depending on what you're selling, so that when the time comes for them to pull the trigger, you are top of mind and they're ready to buy from you. So not to just read these, we're going to kind of hop through it, but we're going to look at that decision journey. We're going to look at how to actually create some of your audiences and what, like if you're hearing this saying like, I don't even know what retargeting is, we're going to talk about that so that you're not shooting in the dark here. How to convert on the website. If you're doing home shows, talk a little bit about how to set you up for that. A little bit about Google Ads. We actually don't provide Google Ads, so we're not going to go too deep into that. And then otherwise, just sort of like understanding the arithmetic behind all of this so that you can sort of see the savings that you're getting by making your ads more efficient. So I'm Kevin. I said that earlier. Why you should listen to me. GC Sherpa, we only work for builders and remodelers. We've been doing it for about 2 years now and are just heavily involved in the industry. Prior to this, I had a 15-year career in design, development, marketing, just doing tons of stuff for tons of different clients, and really loved residential construction and wanted to focus on that. So that's kind of why we've been head first, but we are backed by, decades of experience serving all kinds of clients. And so as a principle-based company, we can help fix things in your business that aren't necessarily digital marketing, but we fix for other clients in other sectors and are happy to do that for you. So we've worked with all kinds of clients. Like, these guys are commercial. This is a small septic excavation company, design and build. This is a big architecture, construction management company. So we've worked with all scale of different clients in the industry. And again, each have their own unique problems and opportunities, and we've been able to faithfully serve them, for some of them for over a decade. So retargeting is a hidden leak, right? So if you're not retargeting, people are going to come to the website and 90 or 98% of them aren't going to come back if you don't do something to actively make them come back. And that's, again, people are distracted. Website may be loaded slow, or they got a call, or they got a text, or whatever. But just the goldfish brain of, ping and forget, you really have to combat that to get people to focus and pay attention, again, especially if you're selling high ticket stuff. This is just a bucket, obviously, showing that people are coming into the site. You're paying money for ads, potentially. You're paying money for SEO and all that. But if you don't retain any of it, it doesn't really matter how much you put into the top of the funnel. So this is just sort of like an overview. Again, like, if you have this level of sophistication in your marketing, that's awesome. If not, like, this is a great primer. But like, people are doing research. Like my wife and I, our house is old. We are always looking at ideas about what she wants for the kitchen, what she wants for bathrooms, all that. And so, like, it's a lot of Instagramming back and forth. I like this. I like this. Look at this. And then we can start comparing once we're at a point where, we feel like we're going to move forward on a project. We have to kind of like figure out a partner. And then, again, that's sort of talking it over with the spouse, getting the estimates and hiring. And I know every contractor we talk to says, I wish people would talk to us back here in the research phase so that we can expedite the comparison, but then also we can guide some of the design decisions and some of the planning and zoning and permitting and all that stuff. So you don't basically paint yourself into a corner saying, I want an estimate on this, and nothing that they want is actually possible with their property, with the zoning and all that. So, our role is to try and get you on this side of the chain and keep you there for any prospect that is going to be in your market. What retargeting is, it's not strangers. These are people that have interacted with your brand and at some point were interested in you and either, again, got distracted, stopped shopping, something changed. And so this is your continued opportunity to try and capture the hard work you already did, which was getting a stranger to pay attention to you. So psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. People naturally trust things that they see repeatedly. So a lot of people will start marketing and start running ads, and then they're like, doesn't work, and then they just stop, and they don't really hit that critical mass where it's like you become inevitable. So if you're running ads, people are going to see your ad, and then it's like they can't shake you, and their mind just starts to bend towards like, okay, this person is everywhere. And what are the trust indicators there? Like, this company has enough money to market, this company has a reputation, this company is able to deliver the services that I may need. And you're going to do that through your projects and testimonials and highlighting your team and the high quality people that you have working for you. So this is just sort of a rubric here. So you've got website visitors, Facebook engagers, video viewers, and home show attendees, and existing leads. And home shows could be a physical event, whatever, and existing leads. And I just wanted to pop over here. So this is in your Meta Ads Manager. And so these are some of your options within the ad manager. So it's going to be create audience, custom audience. And these are all the different ways that you can, these are like the sources that you have. And then these are all the ways that they can offer it. And so this is how you basically start that retargeting is, by people who have like interacted through one of these points. So these are just some high performing ideas for your retargeting. So it could be the before and afters, client testimonials, project walkthroughs, where like, again, ideally you're on camera. It's not just like the camera going around. Like, people want to do business with someone that they know, like, and trust. So the more that you can put yourself or your team into the ads, they're going to say, good people, we like them. These are the kind of people that we would like either building our house or being in our house. Team introductions, talk about the longevity. And this is also great. One of the biggest problems in the construction industry is staffing. So if you have a hard time getting enough people to do the work, but you are running ads that actually show that you have a great company culture and that people want to work there, bam, half the battle. You can win customers by showing how your expertise to prospective clients. And then you can also recruit because people see that you're a good company to work for. Educational videos, anytime you can add value to people, that obviously sets you apart from a competitor. You might not be doing that. And then also an offer. So it could be, a one-on-one video call. It could be an on-site visit. You can kind of determine what that is. But these are all kind of like bread and butter ways to retarget. So how long should you retarget? Really depends on the job. So like a kitchen or bath, 30, 90 days where like people are thinking about it, they're waiting for the right time, waiting for budget. Maybe they're doing some financing, figuring, or like waiting for a tax return, something like this. Custom home, that is a long game. So again, a lot of companies in our industry, when they're trying to solicit marketing for home builders, I mean, it's one build a year is good. 2 builds a year is great. 3 is amazing. And obviously the idea is once you sort of figure out how to get one, then you scale it. And then you say, okay, now we're going to get 2. Now we're going to get 3. But you have to basically do that long tail work to figure out what actually works. And in addition, our clients often meet somebody at an event, and then it's some people are 3 months, some people are 6 months, some people are 9 months. But if you don't have that whole program set up, you're never going to capture those people. So again, most contractors just stop. They get tired, they get bored, they get distracted, and they say this doesn't work. And marketing is a lot like the gym. It's weeks, months, years of hard work and persistence and consistency and having all the right elements in place. And then it eventually pays off and it pays dividends in the long run. So here's kind of like a home show retargeting funnel. So they're going to see you at the home show. They're going to engage with you. I go to home shows and I love sort of dissecting what people do and don't do. If you're not having them touch some aspect of your website or a digital property that you own so that you can hit them with that retargeting pixel, it's a big missed opportunity. You could have, even if you're collecting their name, email, phone number, instead of having it on a piece of paper, make a form on your website and put the pixel for your retargeting on that form. Then everybody that gave you their info, you can say, here, okay, great. Now you're going to get followed up with retargeting ads. And that's going to be like a landing page, sort of what I just said, and they get retargeted and then they come to a consultation. So again, this is one of the common missed opportunities we see at home shows, is just you're collecting information or not, and then you're not doing anything to make sure that, like, those people who just went to the home show and met 5 contractors, how do you make sure that you're the one that they go with? You have to basically fight off everybody else by staying top of mind. So this is just kind of an example of the power of retargeting. So, without retargeting, you can pay for 1,000 visitors. You might get 20 leads. You might only get 4 consultations out of that, though, in one project. But if you're pushing and sticking with people in the long run, maybe that turns into 8 consultations and 2 projects. And, this is all assuming the same budget. You're getting double the yield. So really, it's like a yield optimization tool. So here's basically some indicators. And if you're not tracking your website traffic, this is a good place to start, because you can't really act on information that you don't have. So if they're checking out service pages a lot, if they're visiting your project gallery, if they're downloading free tools or guides that you might have, that's all sort of an opportunity to hook people. If they're spending a lot of time on your site, contact page, project page, and financing. If you're not offering financing, that can be a big hurdle for some tiers of customers that you may be looking for. And so facilitating that for them is a great way to differentiate yourself. So service pages, I would go as specific as possible. So rather than, framing and roofing or whatever, maybe it's, what do they call it? A dormer, like dormer expansion, or like changing dormers, or like really niche project, like built-ins in closet, or, brick pizza oven kitchen or something, whatever sort of almost eccentric thing that you tend to do consistently and you do well, that somebody's looking for that exact thing. But if you're not naming it, they're never going to know that you do it. And again, galleries, same idea. Don't just say kitchen, bath, add specificity to it so that somebody who's actually looking for a specific thing is going to say, oh, these guys do what I do. And a lot of contractors, sort of have the ethos, which the confidence is great, but it's like, oh, I can do anything. It's like, that's great, but what do you do well? What are you different from everybody else in that, if I'm interested in something that's specific, can you do that specific thing, and have you done that thing before? About page, obviously, if you're in people's homes and on their property, they need to make sure that you are conducting yourself professionally. And about page is not only a great way for them to see that you are professional, but also the idea of why you do what you do. Are you just there to collect a check, or are you a 3rd generation construction company? Which obviously those people have very different motives in terms of what gets them out of bed every day. Reviews, this is your past clients singing your praises. And again, that's a social indicator that, certainly you, have done well by people in the past. And then contact pages, they've got to be able to reach you, but it's not just fill out form. Ideally, it's something like, start your kitchen renovation today, or, something that is putting them in a specific direction. So here's pages. Again, we're not going to spend too much time here, as we just sort of talked about it, but it's the services, it's the project galleries, the about, the reviews, the contact, and you've got retargeting opportunities on all of these. So that you, again, like highlight those services, highlight, the team, the mission, vision, values, and the contact page. Maybe there's urgency that you could say, we're almost booked for 2026. You need to get in touch with us now. Just checking here. I'm still here. Stay good. So we offer retargeting audits. If you are running ads, but you're not retargeting, and you would like for us to check out your program, we're happy to do that. You can call us 845-533-3309. You can also email grow@gcsherpa.com, and we're happy to sort of give you an idea about where you might be wasting money and where you could get more action out of your ads. So next up, how to follow the sorry, this call is funny. How to follow homeowners around the internet without being annoying. And again, that's going to be the retargeting, is where they went to your site and they keep seeing your site even if they don't go back. And the idea is obviously to get them to go back. But Facebook and Instagram both really are a good place for the testimonials. Or again, like the way of not making it annoying is you can basically send some content to one channel and other content to another channel. So that they're not like seeing the same thing on every channel. That's a little bit annoying. But if you kind of break it up so that they see a different thing on different channels, they're learning about you holistically instead of just, man, I'm really getting hammered from every angle here. So here's, again, just sort of like revisiting that journey of like they're researching, they're comparing, they're ready for estimates, and they're ready to hire. And so like we want to make sure that you're present at every stage, and are obviously like the cheapest people to capture are the ones who are not ready to buy yet. So basically, in terms of like creating a diverse marketing system, is these people aren't really buying anything, so to wait for their dollars, it's cheap to reach them, but you have to play the long game to get them here. Trying to find people right here, there's some companies that maybe that's all they offer, but they're also taking huger cuts, and the marketing is a lot more expensive because you're basically highly targeted on somebody who is like, I don't know what to say, like they're basically ready to buy, and it's really expensive because that's also where all the competition is. So low competition, high competition. Obviously, the high competition, you're paying to beat everybody else. There's a lot going on this page. I just want to kind of give you some idea. Like, here's the budget recommendations, there's audience sizes, expected results, and common mistakes. And so, in terms of Facebook, these are not huge budgets. Like, this can be a portion of your overall budget that you are basically just trying to supplement the ads that you're already running. Like, if you're spending $300 to $600 a month on retargeting, you're probably spending $1,500 to $2,000 on ads for your main campaign. So this supports that, and ideally is going to lower your cost of acquisition. And then again, like, here's sort of your audience sizes, which is going to change depending on where you live. These are some benchmarks of results, so that you have at least some idea about what you should be expecting. And then here's kind of like where people make mistakes, and all of these things. Like, if you're just sort of like, oh, let me throw some money at ads, and it's not working, like, it doesn't really give you anything to fix. But when you approach ad management systematically, you can say, hey, look, we're not really hitting the number of impressions. I think it's a budget issue. And so, like, you could put in the budget a little bit higher, or change up creative, or like there's multiple factors you can kind of tweak. And so each one of these is basically like a little lever that can be pulled, or gear that can be turned to, or dial that can be turned to try and make things work better. So recapping, it doesn't have to be a huge budget for this. It should really just be like a portion. You could call it like a third of your main budget, and sort of go from there to see like how it supplements what you're doing. So again, this sort of is a breakdown of, if you're just paying for the leads and you're just hammering, and you're trying to catch those right side of the equation fish who are like ready to buy, it's a lot more expensive than it is to just have a holistic plan that is, excuse me, all this talking makes me yawn, I'm sorry. To have basically uh, a mixed program of brand new leads and at the same time retargeted leads, you're going to spend less money and it's going to be cheaper in the long run. You're going to have higher conversion rates. So here's sort of like by project type. This is just kind of like a mapped out rubrics. So like kitchens might be kitchen of your dreams, or bathrooms, spa like bathrooms built for you. Addition, more space, more possibilities. But you sort of see like this isn't just saying like the nuts and bolts of the kitchen. Like you're trying to sell the hole and not the drill, which is a basic sales thing. So none of these are really talking about the features of what you're doing. It's really just that you're forecasting the emotions and the feelings and the pride of what they're going to experience when they are starting the project. Here's sort of a sequence. So you might showcase a project, and then they're going to see a testimonial in their second week, and in the third week some educational content, and then the offer doesn't even come for 4 weeks. So for 3 weeks you're basically getting them hyped up, and they may click into you and book their call ahead of time. But it's basically there's somebody named Gary Vaynerchuk who's a big marketing influencer, and his whole thing is the boxing adage of like jab, 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 right hook. Like you don't just walk out into a boxing match and start throwing haymakers. You're basically teasing, 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 and then when you're ready to land the big punch, like that's after you've gone through a lot of activity of sweetening the deal and the relationship with people. So the referrals, do they need retargeting? So if like somebody gets referred to your site, which again, you may have a specific landing page for that. Someone may just give them your number, like whatever. Referrals are coming in typically above 90% ready to go with you, as long as you don't blow the deal. Like it's your deal to lose for the most part, but that doesn't mean you should rest on your laurels. They may be asking a couple of friends for a couple of contractors. And so if you're the one that bothers to put in a little bit of work to get their business, that is going to help give you the edge over everybody else. Because remember, everybody's kind of coming into that 90% there. And so it's, again, your job to sort of push it up to the 100% book job place. You can also, before a home show, use retargeting. So it could be anybody who's on your list, you're going to target them with like your booth number. Say, hey, we're going to be by the hot dog stand, or come see us and we're giving away XYZ. We have, a project digital showcase that we're going to show at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Any number of these things, you can basically use to pre-sell people who you're going to be meeting in person, and they'll keep it in mind and basically seek you out and say like, oh yeah, I saw your ad that you're trying to win my attention before we even get there. And people get excited about that. It makes them feel special. So ROI formula that you should know, if it basically helps you get one more project than you would get over just doing ads, like guess what, it pays for itself. So if you're looking at this saying, oh, it's too complicated, I don't know how to do it, I'm not interested, don't think like that. Again, marketing is a long-term, consistent, disciplined activity, and this is really like part of the healthy system. And again, we find basically with all of our clients that they will get clients out of retargeting, and it usually ends up being cheaper. And again, like it might take a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is, but like it's always worth it. It's almost like don't even spend money on ads unless you're willing to spend part of that money on the retargeting. So this is kind of just a forecasting of like what's on the horizon. So AI everywhere. Obviously, we use AI. Everybody uses AI. So AI is part of Facebook's targeting, and so they can segment your audiences for you, and you can dial in. Excuse me. You can dial in basically what's who you would like to communicate with. Dynamic project ads where if it's understanding who somebody is and they understand they might be looking for a kitchen, it's going to show kitchen out of your ad portfolio, as opposed to like somebody who wants an addition, it's not going to show them a bathroom. Also, like CRM activities, if you're not using a CRM, we definitely recommend that. That's a customer relationship manager. And so that basically keeps track of all your people that you're trying to sell to. Video view retargeting. So this is if people are looking at your videos, either in Meta or in YouTube or something like this, it can look at who's actually paying attention to it and then push more ads at them. And again, having like some concept, this is sort of where we talked about that continuum of very far off, going to buy, or ready to buy. Like that lead scoring is basically what is going to give you an idea about like how soon those people are ready to purchase. Revisiting here, so what are you going to show them? You're going to show them projects completed. You're going to do that by taking good photos and videos. You're going to put it on your social media. Social media is going to lead people to your website. You're going to retarget those people, and then ideally it's going to become a consultation. So this is a cycle of things that have to be in place. And each one of these things has its own subset of disciplines, and you may be naturally good at one and not another. And so the point is that like where you have shortcomings, you have to, you're a contractor, right? Like your job is to bring people in that do things that you don't have time to do or expertise to do. So you're going to bring in the pieces where you feel like you're lacking so that you have a complete successful system. So here's like a little bit of a checklist. Metapixel, this is what lets Facebook and Instagram understand what's happening on your website so that it can appropriately not only track, but show your ads to people. Google Tag, this is if you're running Google ads, but also you can have Google Tag Manager track clicks and time on page and like a number of different things. So this is basically like the advanced Google Analytics tool. Did you do anything with your audiences? Like we looked at that in the meta tab. Do you have video viewing audiences? Like, do you have any follow-up system? So like, let's say people are coming into these funnels, like, are you having to call them manually but busy so you don't call them and they don't get a call for a day? Or like, do you have it in place that, hey, response, excuse me, so that they're not waiting for you to get back to them? Do you allow scheduling where if you can't speak to them immediately, they can say, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. It goes on your calendar, their calendar, and it's a done deal. Like that system is also really important. And we basically have run webinars on that as well. Do you have any testimonials? Do you have clients that sing your praises and are willing to talk about how you sort of took them from stressed and embarrassed about how old and small their house was to proud and excited and happy to have their family over on the holidays? All that stuff is emotionally evocative and is great. Project showcase. Again, if you're not taking good photos, we always recommend get a professional photographer, videographer. You don't have to do it for every project. You don't have to do it all the time, but you know, the $3, $5, or $6 or $1,000 that you're going to pay to get tons of content, you get so much mileage out of it that you really shouldn't just build it into the project price, honestly. And then what kind of consultation offer do you have? Making sure that's strong. And then again, like, are you using a CRM so that you don't get all these people, then you lose them? So if all this sounds overwhelming, that's not our intent. If you want us to look at your system, again, we made that offer. If you would like for us to build this for you, here's our info. We can certainly set it up in addition to your main campaigns so that you are not out in the cold trying to find new clients when the market turns. So we also offer ranking reports and SEO review, which if you're a local business, SEO is a big part of your life, and increasingly so with AI, which getting ranked in the AI search is its own animal. It's, you know, we're not going to say it's like convoluted. It's actually pretty straightforward, but it has to be done so strategically. And some markets, it's not really that important right now, but I would wager for every market, it will be important in the future. So it's up to you to determine how far you want to be ahead of the curve. So that's it. We'll take some time now. We'll switch into questions. And otherwise, here's our info. Reach out if we can help you out with anything. And we will see you at the top. Thanks for joining, folks.